All right. Looks like I have 35 minutes. Um, I want to make a video about Moses. And one of the things to me that fascinates me about Moses. Now, I have my interpretation of Moses. I put it out there. Um, but here it is, right? I mean, Moses, if you look at the character he creates of himself, right? You look at this character of Moses and how he's portraying himself to the audience. Well, he's really portraying himself as blameless. Like any man who would ever blame Moses is an asshole, right? And me, I'm an asshole because I blame Moses. And you can't blame Moses because he portrays himself as blameless, as innocent, right? He is just he's just doing what God's telling him to do, right? It's not him. Like, don't blame him. Um, he's just the medium, he's just the prophet. But that's how he really does portray himself. He portrays himself as blameless, innocent, and he talks about innocence, right? In Genesis, he talks about the Garden of Eden before the sin, and they were living in innocence, right? And here you have this man who's portraying himself as innocent. How dare anyone blame him? How dare they? Right? But I dare. I dare to blame Moses. Because Moses, what does he say? He says, "Thou shalt not lie. Thou shalt not lie."
Picture and space between.
But what does Moses do? Moses goes to the Pharaoh and he gets Aaron, because he's not even doing the talking. He gets Aaron to do the talking for him. But he goes to Aaron and he tells Aaron, hey, tell the Pharaoh that Yahweh wants us to worship on this mountain. Well, that's not what Yahweh said. Yahweh told Moses to get his people free. He's like, hey, get my people free. I want my people to be free and no longer under this Egyptian tyranny. But that's not what they said to the Pharaoh. They said, hey, we want to go worship on this mountain. But they don't. They want to get the fuck out. Moses wants to get them out of Egypt. So that was a lie. They're telling a lie to the Pharaoh. They're telling a lie to you, the audience. Right? But again, how dare you question Moses? Moses puts himself up as innocent. Right? I mean, that's like, if you want to look at cat behavior, cats, I think, are famous for, like, they're innocent. They're not doing anything wrong ever. Like, and how dare you ever blame them? But that's what Moses is doing here. Moses has feminine power within him. He has strong feminine power within him. And how dare you blame him? You better not blame him. But what does he do? He lies. He steals. He goes and kills people that God says to kill, and they take their stuff. I mean, what's going on here, right? What's happening? In my opinion. And what's happening, in my opinion, is that the law is of the heart. That's what I believe. Like, Moses is not a liar. Moses loves the truth. But he's now wiser, and he now realizes he's living in a world where you have tons of people who don't give a shit about the truth. So they don't deserve it. If you don't give a shit about the truth, you don't fucking deserve it. And so Moses is, in his heart, he's not a liar. But he, as a shepherd, can lie to the sheep. Oh yeah, we're just gonna go worship on this mountain. Like put yourself in the shoes of these Jews. They're living in Egypt, right? They're living in this suburban paradise. They've got nice couches, nice beds. You know, they're these effeminate city folk. And Moses wants them to be hard ass Habaru. And so he fucking lies to them. He's like, oh yeah, God wants us to worship on this mountain. And then, oh, circumstances. Oh, let's get out, you know. But Moses is shepherding them, right? He's allowed to lie to these dumb sheep who don't give a shit about the truth and who don't care what a strong man is. Because they want to be strong men in their own little suburban, effeminate city folk minds. But that's really not what a strong man is, according to Moses the high priest. But he lies, he steals, Moses kills. Moses killed a lot of evil, bad Jews. Or Jews he considered to be evil. Like he didn't hesitate, he was ready with that golden calf. He had his soldiers in place right after that golden calf. And he had a list. He's like, hey, go kill all these motherfuckers. He had an army and he had a list.
I gotta get off here.
And I mean, who is this Moses character? Like seriously, he's but and to me though, as a writer, it's really fascinating how he was able to accomplish this. Like me even suggesting this theory of Moses, there's a lot of people who are going to get angry at me, right? Confirmation. But at the same time, you know, my theory makes logical sense, right? And correct me please if I'm wrong, right? But it's really fascinating how he did this. Because like at one point in time he's like, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live, right? And what is a witch? Is a witch someone is a witch someone who can like part waters and walk through them?
Yes.
Right? Is a witch someone that can you know, conjure up plagues anytime he wants? Right? Like was it Moses a witch? If like Moses was fucking Gandalf the fucking White. Like he could like do all of this witchy magic stuff. No. he like seriously. And so, but then he's like, thou shalt not suffer. So it's like, what is he talking about? What is this little witch talking about, right? He's riddling to us, I think. And we have to solve the riddle. But you know, I think it comes like, to me, I think it comes down to the period of the judges, right? It says in the period of the judges, that each Jew would do what they thought was best within their own hearts, right? And the period of the judges is the period right after Moses. And so, in other words, this is the proper interpretation of the law. The proper interpretation of the law is freedom. It is total fucking freedom. Like each Jew was doing what he thought was best within his own heart, and that's how it should be in our day. And that's what one of the prophecies is. One of the prophecies is that in the future, each Jew will have his own conversation with God or something like that. Which is what God wants. That is Yahweh. Yahweh is a conversationalist not a dictator. And that's how Moses wrote his book. Moses wrote his book as a conversation to us. He's not trying to dictate to us. He doesn't want some stupid, dumb follower who like worships him like, oh, Moses, you're so smart. Oh, I love you. That's not what he wants to respect the people he's talking with, right? And so he's making fun of a lot of the people who are reading his stuff, right? And you taking off now?
Yeah, I'm listening to you actually.
No, that's good. Yeah, no. So like, I think that's what's funny about a lot of this stuff, because again, you have the Ten Commandments, and he's breaking all of them. Like, he tells you not to have sex with Gentile women, yet his women are Gentile women. Boom, confirmation, right? I mean, no, his women are Gentile women. Like he's married to the daughters of the priests of Madian, right? A heretical sect who believe in false gods, apparently, right? But he's married, and he's friends with this priest of Madian. He's friends with his father-in-law, who is worshiping a false god. But I think that's the true nature of Moses. The true nature of Moses is that a false god is a man who will come up to a woman and say, "Oh, baby, I love you, baby. Oh, I love you. Oh, I love you." But he doesn't. Like, he just wants the sex, right? And that
I'm out of here.
That love is a lie. that that love is a lie, right? When a man like that does that. And, someone like Alexander the Great is not great at all. He is a false god. He was indebted to financiers, so of course he's going to get killed once he's done with his conquests. Because those are not his conquests. Like, that's his father's army, and his father's army is being financed by, cutthroat assholes. So, not a hero. He is a false god. Caesar, on the other hand, was more badass than Alexander, I think. But it's all about what is the true image of a man, I think. What is the true image of a woman? And like for me, one of the books I read recently was the book of Enoch, the book of everything. And in this book of Enoch, there's this image of God. And God is just sitting there. God is sitting there like a gangster. Like Enoch's description of God is like something right out of Quentin Tarantino. Like, this is a fucking gangster, and no man will dare to look him in the eye, right? But this follower of Yahweh, this Enoch guy, who in his own mind follows Yahweh. Where's he get what's going on here, right? In the Yahwistic tradition, we are made in the image and likeness of God. So what's amazing about this description of God within Enoch is that is the description of every man, woman, and child. The true description of someone who has embraced their innocence. And no man should dare to look them in the eye if they've embraced their innocence. And I think Moses definitely does this on many levels, right? Because he's telling us not to lie, and yet he's lying. He tells us not to steal, and he's stealing. Like, Moses is kind of a funny guy. Um, but yeah, no, I think it's of the heart, right? It's not of the specific act, right? The specific act means nothing, right? Now I've talked about this on other videos, but I'll just bring it up again. And this is the quick draw action, right? So you have the quick draw action, and you could say the quick draw action is to grab your gun, pull the gun out of, one, grab your gun, two, pull the gun out of your holster, 3 point, four, shoot, right? That's the quick draw action. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, that's scientific and mathematical. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? But if you put different circumstances into all of this, everything changes. And this is not moral relativity at all. This is just different circumstances. So you could have the circumstances of an actual high noon duel, right? Where two guys are actually quick drawing against each other. And the judgment on this itself varies, because a man could be doing a high noon action for his own ego, or because of bravery. Like, this is a thing, a test of bravery for the person. And so there's two different judgments on this same action. But then you can have this quick draw action, and it's a movie, right? It's the same quick draw action: grab your gun, pull, point, shoot, right? But one has blanks, the other has real bullets, right? Same action, though. Different judgment. You could have a soldier whose whole lower body just got blown off, and they're talking with this other soldier, and he's like, "Oh, oh, my good friend, you're dying, wah." And he's like, "Oh, tell my family I love them," and wah wah. And then he's like, "Hey, buddy, could you just, like, put me out of my misery?" And so what's he do? He grabs his gun, pulls it out of the holster, he points, and he shoots. Right? Totally different judgment. Right? Same action, same exact action. Totally different judgment. And again, you could keep going with this. You could go back to the actors, and you could say that someone purposely puts a live bullet in there in order to get this actor killed. Right? Totally. But the person doing it, thinks they're just shooting blanks, right? Boom. And I think that's the proper interpretation of the law. It's like with we're all our own story. Judgment is about individuals. It's not about groups, right? Judgment is about individuals, and I think this is something that Moses would definitely agree with. And and judging someone is extremely difficult, if not impossible. Because there could be different possibilities for any one action. But anyways, No, I totally think Moses is a badass because he he's able to put up this aura of innocence around himself. He is, and it's a brilliant writing thing that he has done, even to this day, where I dare to uh, speak what I'm speaking about Moses, right? Even though I'm doing this in all honesty, I'm totally doing this in all honesty. Like, prove me wrong. Like, does not Moses lie to the Pharaoh? I mean, does he not? Does he not lie to the Jews? Like, oh, we're just gonna go worship on this mountain. No, free my people. That's not worshiping on a mountain, right? He's like, get gone, get gone. So there's this shepherding, this lying that takes place. And I don't know. I think it's interesting. I'd love to hear other people's opinions on my thoughts. Maybe I'm wrong. Please lovingly correct me if you think I'm wrong. Right? Let's have a conversation. But yeah, no, I think Moses is definitely a funny guy.